The Georgia Bulldogs are
Georgia
your 2 seed in the college football playoffs. We're doing a series where we say, is any team in the playoffs an actual contender? There are a lot of teams in the playoffs. Usually there's only like 3 to 4 to 5 maybe real contenders every year. Georgia finished 11-2 as the SEC champions. Their ranked wins included Clemson, Texas, Tennessee, and Texas again. Their losses were to Alabama in Bama and Ole Miss in Ole Miss. 2 top 15 losses. Carson Beck officially out for the season. Season ending, I think it was elbow or shoulder surgery. It was elbow surgery. So Gunnar Stockton is now the man in charge. Are they legit contenders?
Yeah, great name.
Mario, let me know yes or no.
Yes. Georgia is indeed a contender.
Even with the backup.
Shocker to everyone, I know. Yeah, even with the backup. You know, it would be different if Carson Beck got injured, late in that game and maybe Gunnar Stockton only had to come in for a couple minutes. But we saw a whole half of football. And honestly, they looked a little bit better, at least in that game when he came in. He's definitely a different type of quarterback than Carson Beck. I think that plays into their advantage. Maybe as games go on, teams might be able to get a better sense of Gunnar Stockton, but they only really have one half of tape on this guy.
Yeah.
He's a runner, which just makes things, it's more of a headache for defenses when you're prepping. Like at any point, this guy, he runs like he's Taysom Hill or like a running back too. He's not like a.
And he got absolutely clocked and just stood right there.
And just popped right back
He
up.
died.
He's a boy from the South named Gunnar.
That. He's from Georgia.
No, he took that shit on the chin.
You know what I mean? It'll just be interesting to see, how his passing ability gets put to the test. There was a few throws where he had it against that Texas team where he had some guys wide open and he just flat out missed on a few.
Yeah.
Some throws that could have, made that game more of a comfortable win. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, without a doubt, with this defense, their offense, their players, and you got Kirby Smart, who's a good coach. This team's easily a contender.
I'm not going to add too much to that. I just want to say, with Kirby Smart, you are always a contender. I don't care what your roster is. He's the best coach in college football. The only coach still remaining that has won a national championship before, and he's won, a couple. So I love Georgia as an actual title contender. I think their matchup against Notre Dame, which we're going to dive into a little in the coming days, is a really tough one for them. But Gunnar Stockton, looked up a couple things on him. Hasn't played a whole lot of college football. 7th-ranked quarterback in the 2022 high school class. He was a 4-star. But he did step in, like you said, and lead the comeback win against Texas. They were not up trying to protect a lead. They were down 6-3.
Yep.
So Georgia as a team, they played 6. This will be their 6th-ranked game this season. Oh, sorry, this will be their 7th-ranked game. They've played 6 so far. Insanely battle-tested team.
Yeah.
They will not be surprised about the caliber of any team because they played everybody pretty much. And a lot of those teams were playoff teams. So I think they're going to be ready, and it's Kirby Smart. So obviously, in my mind, a contender.
Yeah, I disagree. And I think, I slightly hold back on that statement because of Kirby Smart and because I think he is the best coach in college football across the nation.
You disagree about what? That they're a contender?
That they're a contender. I think, in my personal opinion, to win a national championship, you have to be balanced enough on all sides of football. I think you need to be able to run the ball well. You need to be able to throw the ball when you need to, or throw the ball well, run the ball when you need to, and play a good ball of defense on both sides, both passing and against the rush.
How's their defense against Texas?
Unbelievable. I think they have a great defense. I think their run game, at certain times can be really, really strong, especially if they were to actually get their star back, who we haven't really seen too much of this year, but when he does play well.
Who?
Travis.
Etienne?
I mean, he's back 100%.
Oh, is he? Okay,
I mean, he was back against Texas when he went for, 2 or 3 touchdowns.
I was, just making sure.
Yeah, no, he's 100% back.
All right. So, and, good on them. But in my personal opinion, I think it's very limiting when you have a guy like Gunnar Stockton, who, as Mario pointed out, I agree with. I think he did miss a lot of, just open, easier passes that more experienced quarterbacks, whether it's against tough games or not tough games, they just, they get the reps. They get that kind of compatibility with the receivers. They get to pick a favorite receiver, stuff like that. I think he doesn't really have that with his team. Again, not going to talk about it too much, but I think Texas lost that SEC championship a lot more than they had won it. Not going to get too far into it, but I think it was just we got outcoached in that second half with that change of quarterback. They ran it unbelievably Again, like I said, I think they have a great defense. I think they have a really solid run game. I don't think they have that, last part that you really need to be a national champion.
So 0% chance.
So they're
No,
not
not zero. I would say less than 50. I'd give him like a 37% chance.
So that's
to
the
win.
same percent you gave Indiana to win the Natty on last week's episodes, by the way. 37% is the exact percentage you said. Indiana to win the Natty.
39.75.
Okay, so they're slightly better than Indiana in your minds.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said
Gotcha.
Indiana was a contender. You're saying Georgia's not a
Yes,
contender.
correct.
Okay.
I just want to move
Because
on to Ryan.
I learned after the first
I don't
round.
want to harp on too much the insanity of the Texas obviously contender, Georgia not a contender, but Ryan's the last one to have a take. So, go ahead.
Yeah, when we were talking about Texas being contenders, I was really close. I was fringing in on both sides. Real tough for me. It just happened to be who they played. I actually wanted to say Georgia's not a contender, but because of who they play in their side of the bracket, I think they're playing two teams where they could have a Kirby Smart defensively coached game that wins them the game. If they were playing Oregon, Ohio State, that no matter what, are going to put up 30 on them. I don't think Georgia's defense is anything special. At times, they have players that are special. I've never seen all year. I mean, they play. It's like Ohio State against Michigan. Yeah, against Texas, maybe they get pumped. Texas has never been in that environment before, an SEC game. They've been in Big 12. They don't understand the different aspects of it. But I think that Georgia's defense, for the most part this year, hasn't really impressed me at all. They have players that really do it. But they have to be a contender when you have Kirby Smart. And because of their side they're on, I think if they had to play offenses like Ohio State, Oregon, it'd be a lot different. But that maybe will be in the championship game. I can't say a team's not a contender if they can get to the championship game. So because of their side, Notre Dame, I think, again, you can coach well against Notre Dame. You could beat them easily, in my opinion. And then Penn State still has to prove to us that they're one of the best teams in the country, in my opinion. So, I think Georgia has to be a contender in that aspect. But I'm not too far off, Mike, where I could see, because of their quarterback play and their offense being so stagnant all year, even with Carson Beck, they have no crazy players in offense. ETN at times has looked really good, at times looking great. I know he's been injured, but their offense identity has been miserable. And I'm interested to see how they go moving forward. But Kirby Smart in that
might
defense.
be better.
Yeah, Georgia.
Possibly.
This is the thing about Georgia is they are a playoff team.
Yeah.
Kirby builds his teams for the playoffs. The amount of times the last 3 years we've said, oh, this Georgia team is really playing it close against a Kentucky or something, and then they just go on to win multiple national championships. It's kind of just, I don't know, it's exhausting almost. So the backup quarterback might be a reasonable argument, but Kirby Smart has to be a contender in my mind. There's no world, I think, when he gets to go against Marcus Freeman and then James Franklin to make the Natty, that you're saying that matchup with Kirby Smart isn't just going to be the most out-coached game of all time.
He's also has the worst players he's ever coached in this.
That's probably his worst
6-7
roster.
years he's had.
Yeah, we'll see how. It'll be interesting to see how the offense and defense move, because I think there's a lot of NFL guys. There's three first-round NFL guys on defense. So,
but
I think that's going to be.
They haven't looked amazing. They've looked good in spots.
Yeah. When they got ETN back, he dominated that Texas defense, which hasn't let any running back dominate them all year.
Yeah.
Again, these are all opinions. This is why we all have our own takes. Let us know in the comments what you think about Georgia.
Like
Bulldogs.
Two real yeses, a yes but not a whole lot, and then a no, which is not the result I thought we were going to get when we're talking about
Love that,
the Georgia
baby.
Bulldogs.
39.77%.
39.77. There you have it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Is Georgia a contender?